My name is Brad Hochmeyer. I founded the station back in 1986. In 1991, we went solar powered, and I sold the station in 2010 to 4 employees. I am now the proud host of the afternoon show on KTAOs.
The key players at KTAOs, since we bought the business from Brad, would be myself, my wife Kate, who's the GM, Aiden Bain, who is our sound engineer and general IT technician, and his wife Katie, who is the production director. She basically does everything on the air that's not music.
Yeah, when Brad wanted to sell to his employees, because they would fulfill his vision that he put 25 years into, you know, that was one, it was very overwhelming. It wasn't anything that any of us had ever thought about before, but one of the things that made it most comprehensible, not only to us, but to our lenders and to Brad as a seller, is that there were 4 of us. And we really had very, very complementary skill sets and interests.
The main purpose of my job here is to make sure that our 2 radio stations are always on the air and always broadcasting. And then one of the most interesting parts of my radio job is I maintain our solar-powered power plant on the top of a mountain about 12 to 15 miles southeast of here. So there's many moving pieces and many fun technical parts.
I had moved here about 7 years ago in August from Hawaii, where I had been for a couple of years. And when I was coming back, my dad called and said, KTAOs is hiring a producer, and that was my background. And so I sent them my resume. We were still in the trailer on Blueberry Hill. And I rolled into town and had an interview and got the job. And actually today is our 1-year anniversary as new owners, but it's also my official 7th year anniversary here at KTAOs as well.
KTAOs is a lot more than just a solar-powered radio station. Here at the KTAOs Solar Center, we house a lot of different elements. Luna, which is the sister station to KTAOs, is also here, and it's a big piece of the community as well. Beyond that, we have a full bar and restaurant open 7 days a week, and a huge events venue that has a lot of, you know, really internationally successful touring acts that visit through KTAOs. And then the bar and restaurant and the events venue combined really houses a big piece of the community events that happen here in Taos.
As a recovering sportscaster, like I like to call myself, of course, when you're a sportscaster, when you're broadcasting a game live, you better be thinking on your feet. You better be able to express things that are happening second by second by second. So naturally, I think my play-by-play background specifically, not necessarily sportscasting, but play-by-play background, played very well into handling phone call after phone call. And I've done, you know, television call-in shows and things like that before as well.
A strong motivation for me in getting involved with radio in the first place was the influence that it could have on a group of people. The most important thing to me about communications is if you're trying to present somebody with some information and you do it in a dry, boring type of way, you're going to get that kind of response. Whereas if you mix it in with entertainment and you can give information in an entertaining way, you've got them.
But you know, the funny thing is you know, KTAOs is just so much more than a technology hub. It's you know, between 2 radio stations and the bar and the concert venue and everything, it's just like so many things rolled into one. And so, especially having the background in the restaurant business really helped us as far as getting the bar done.
Running a radio station, or 2 radio stations, is enough work. To also have a bar and a venue and work on those to, you know, be in charge, managing both of those operations makes it more complicated.
I really think the original idea of moving out to this facility and cultivating it as an all-encompassed facility was really Brad and Brant Legg's brainchild, if you will. I've heard stories. I was never involved back in those days, but I've heard stories of how they had this vision.
It's been a little overwhelming, but it's been incredibly accomplishing. I think that we've done a really good job in our first year as young new owners. We all have had experience here.
Taos players, I mean, we all have very type A personalities and we all do very different things, but I think we function really well as a whole.
It was interesting because none of us wanted to do what anyone else was doing. You know, so there wasn't, we didn't see, and we haven't seen yet, any threat of stepping on each other's toes. Hey, no, I want to be in that limelight that you're in, you know, and that has been really key to us, that we're not, you know, no one wants to do what I'm doing. I don't particularly want to do what they're doing.
I prefer northern New Mexico over southern New Mexico, and don't get me wrong, there are things that I miss about southern New Mexico, but Taos specifically, and I don't really know what it is. You've heard these stories, I'm sure. The mountain either embraces you or kicks you out. It's embraced me wholeheartedly. I wish I could put my finger on why, but I love this community, and this community seems to like me as well.
If I was trying to describe Taos to someone that I wanted them to move here, what I would say is, yes, it's a very different community in several ways. It's a tricultural community, for one thing. You know, it's pretty evenly split between Anglos, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So that throws a whole wrench in the politics and just the way everyone gets along. A lot of transplants from other places come to Taos. Like I said, I have friends here from New York and San Francisco and other countries, and one of the main stories you'll hear about people that live in Taos is they were visiting, fell in love with it, and never left. The people that are involved in KTAOs, we all honestly believe that we are the hub of northern New Mexico.
These kids are sharp, and I had 4 employees, one who was the sales manager, one who was the production director, one who was the engineer, and one who ran a bar up in the ski valley. So we had it all covered. We referred to these guys as the dream team. And how lucky I got to be able to find these 4 to take over this radio station and be able to afford to buy it. I can't even tell you how grateful I am.